Hey, what's going on, everybody? This is your man, Big B, Brian Hanley, and welcome to Steelers Almighty. Appreciate everybody being in here tonight, man. I hope everybody had a great holiday weekend. I had an eventful one. We'll talk about that here in just a minute, but thanks, everybody, for being in here today, man. Got a good show. First up, going to talk about Omar Khan getting his contract extension, 3-year extension. I think he's still got an important year this year. Not that he's in any danger of being fired. That's not what I mean, but it's still a huge, huge year for Omar Khan and some of his early draft picks. Then look, we got to talk about Terry Bradshaw. I've been done with Terry Bradshaw, be honest with you, for quite some time. But he's at it again, defending baby hands again and bashing the Pittsburgh Steelers, and I'm just tired of it. I'm over Bradshaw and his love for baby hands. It's time to move on, Terry. Time to move on. And then last but not least, we'll talk about the winners and losers of the Pittsburgh Steelers and the Miami trade. There's some obvious winners and some obvious losers. We'll discuss those. And not whether the Steelers won the trade, which I think that's quite obvious, but we'll discuss individuals that won and lost the trade as far as that is concerned. So I appreciate everybody being in here. Like I said, man, thank you guys. We're going to have a fun one today. Everybody, first off, we want to give our thoughts and prayers to our man Big G on the big show. Had some news come up. I won't get into the specifics, but if everybody could just give Big G a shout out, I would appreciate that. You know, he means a lot to Steelers Almighty, so we appreciate him. So going through some stuff, like I said, won't get into the specifics, but everybody give a shout out to our man Big G and wish him the best of luck and well wishes there. My weekend, I was on a 5K that I did this weekend. First 5K that I've ever done in my life, you know, and I've been working out, been not necessarily training, but y'all know I'm on this weight loss journey, lost 100 pounds, got a 75 more to go. 5K damn near killed me. Oh my God. Not physically, but like my legs were dead, couldn't walk around afterwards. It was brutal. It was absolutely brutal, but we made it, people. We made it. So I want to thank everybody that wished me well from Steelers Almighty fandom. I guess fan club. Y'all are part of the family here, man. So I appreciate you all for doing that. Thank you very much. Meant a lot to me. So we'll get started, man. Just wanted to give those quick little hits there. Again, you know how. If you want to help support the channel, super chats are wide open, man. So I appreciate you guys. If you want to help support the channel that way, you want to become a member. Remember, we made those changes. So if you were previously a member, you will have to re-up your membership. You may even thinking about upping it a notch or two to make sure you get to that all-pro level so that you can get the all 22 game film, entire games once the season rolls around. So just something for you guys to keep in mind. We got members that are in the chat already. My man Jerry, what's going on, Jerry? We appreciate you being in here. Thank you very much. Yes, Palmer, what's going on, sir? How are you doing? We appreciate you being in here. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Tom, my man Tom. Thanks, Tom. Thanks for showing up and showing out like you always do. I know Miss Felicia. I thought I saw Miss Felicia in here somewhere. But if not, maybe I was seeing something. No, there's Miss Felicia. I was going to say, I thought Miss Felicia was in here. We appreciate you in here, Miss Felicia. Thank you very much. And our man, Alonzo Dunn, late. He's late. Nah, you're never late, brother. You're never late, man. We appreciate you. Thank you for supporting the channel like you guys always do. Let's get into this. So, Omar Khan gets a 3-year extension from the Pittsburgh Steelers. And, you know, look, there's a lot of people that are upset with Omar Khan, don't like some of the things that he does. And my whole thinking with that is Omar Khan has changed the franchise. Omar Khan is doing things differently than what Steeler general manager Kevin Colbert and previous ones, even before that, have done. I think it's not right that so many people don't acknowledge the mess that Omar Khan inherited. I mean, to act like the Steelers roster wasn't a mess when he came on board as the general manager is silly. Now, some would say, "Hey, he was in the front office. He was part of that. He wasn't in part of the roster, you know, picking the players. Omar Khan wasn't a part of that. Omar Khan is outstanding with the cap, manipulating the cap, salaries, that sort of thing. But he wasn't part of putting the roster together. Now he's got Andy Waddle that helps do that for him now. So they kind of work together. But Omar Khan pulls the strings, him and Mike Tomlin, and he's in charge. But if you remember, he became the general manager in the summer of 2022. And the the roster was a mess. It was a mess. Like, it had no offensive line. It had just drafted Baby Hands Pickett for whatever reason in the first round. It was a disaster, an absolute disaster. And to not acknowledge that, in my opinion, is silly. Now, I'm not saying that he's the greatest general manager that's ever walked the face of the earth, but when you're going through a rebuild, and the Steelers are going through a rebuild, do you fire the general manager, or do you get after the general manager when he's trying to do it while you're still winning 9 and 10 games every year? They're doing that. They're winning 9 or 10 games every year. It's not playoff games, so I'm not saying anything about playoff games, but they are still winning while turning the roster over. Now, you might say, come on, Big B, we don't want to continue to just lollygag and be marred in mediocrity. I'm with you. But let's look at some of the stuff that he's done in this time period. So, first thing was, I think one of the bigger things is he got rid of Baby Hands. Is that he didn't stick. He's like, look, I didn't draft this quarterback. This guy can't play, and we don't need him here any longer. You're not set back 5 and 10 years like you used to be with a quarterback. If you drafted a quarterback 10 years ago, your franchise got set back 5-10 years because of that. You paid him a ton of money. He didn't pan out, and you got crushed. That wasn't the case. That's not the case anymore. And the Steelers moved off of him. And they said, 2 years, you can't play. We're moving on. And there's some of you out there that, we got to give him a chance. Hey, man, for what? Why? He's not the guy. Not to mention, I didn't draft him. So why do I have to give him an opportunity? Now, you could say Mike Tomlin was part of that process. Okay. But Omar Khan was not. He's like, this isn't going to work out. We're moving on. Time to move on. So, and I like the fact that he did that. So the next thing is, and this is one of the bigger fleece jobs known to man, is Omar Khan was the guy who traded Chase Claypool for the 32nd pick in the draft. 3 years later, Chase Claypool's still not even he's not even in the NFL any longer. No roster. And it wasn't, the Steelers can't develop wide receivers. They can't develop talent. Oh, really? Not only could the Steelers not, the Bears couldn't, the Dolphins couldn't, and neither could the Bills. And the Bills were wide receiver thirsty. I mean, they were just absolutely starving for any type of talent. No, we can't use this guy. Dolphins, no, we can't. The Bears, the freaking Bears. No, yeah, this guy's he's not going to work out. He's not going to work out. And that turned into JPJ. So, Omar Khan's done some stuff. Look, you may not like the offensive line currently, but he has rebuilt the offensive line. Now, here are some things. Omar Khan, his first 3 draft picks, they got to turn out. They got to pan out. And that's why I mentioned at the top of this is a gigantic year, because he moved up from 17 to 14 to take Broderick Jones. Is that going to work out? We're going to see. He did that. Joey Porter Jr., Like I said, 32nd pick. It happened to be in the second round because I think it was New England or somebody didn't get a draft pick. Either New England or maybe it was Tampa who didn't get a draft pick that year. So it was 32nd pick. Okay. So we got that. That worked out. But he's got to play. He had a good rookie year, took a step back his sophomore year. Okay. And then Keanu Benton, second round pick. He had flashes, but part of it he's out of position, which, again, that's not necessarily his fault. But this is where you are. I need to see more. I need to see more because right now, if you're talking about extensions, Keanu Benton's going to be the odd man out when it comes to that. And I'm not saying all three of them can't get an extension this offseason, but Keanu Benton's going to be the guy that's going to be the odd man out when it comes to that. Is that you could say, well, Broderick, if Broderick has a decent year or just an average year, they're going to keep Broderick around. Joey Porter Jr., the same thing. Keanu Benton, can you go get another defensive lineman in the draft? Yes, you can. Yes, you can. So this is a gigantic year for all three of those guys. And Khan with his first draft. Hey, this is your first draft. Your first three picks that you took, a first and 2 seconds. Are those guys going to pan out? If you want to throw Darnell Washington in because he was the third round pick that year, you can do that too. So this is a huge year for Omar Khan. It's also a huge year because of some of the things that he's done in the offseason. Again, taking a chance on a 34-year-old corner, taking a chance of trading for a 30-year-old corner, doing those things, taking a chance on a 41-year-old quarterback, although I think that's more Mike Tomlin than it actually is Omar Khan. But also Omar Khan's got to be able to find the franchise quarterback. I mean, we've loaded up on possibly 12 draft picks next year. Well, it's time. Okay? It's time. It's time to have the franchise quarterback. I know some of you are screaming, Will Howard, Will Howard. Hey, man, look, there'd be nothing happier for Will Howard to be the franchise quarterback of the Pittsburgh Steelers. But I'm not holding my breath on a 6th-round draft pick. I'm just not going to do that. If it happens, great. But I can count on one hand how many times that's happened in the last half century. So let's stop with that he's got to be the guy. No, he doesn't have to be the guy. But it's Omar Khan's job to find the guy. And that's something that we're going to have to do. So let's see. CID is talking about Colbert here. He said Colbert built 2 great teams over a decade ago since Hayward's pick. He screwed, I'm assuming that's what you meant to say, screwed up every first round except Watt. I mean, Kevin Colbert put the team's roster in jail. Don't get me wrong. Hayward, he traded for Minka Fitzpatrick, TJ Watt. I mean, he had good draft picks. But near the end, it was pretty bad. So, what Omar Khan's able to do during that time period, we have to be able to give some grace to. Have to. Otherwise, you're not being fair. Felicia says, I'm just going to throw this out there, but I hope Omar goes nuts on the picks next year because I will be there in person rooting my butt off. Yeah, I do too. I mean, here's the thing. The Steelers aren't going to draft 12 guys because 12 guys aren't going to make the roster. So it's ridiculous for you to just take 12 draft picks because that's not going to happen. It's not realistic. Maybe 8 or 9 you could draft. And even then, I'm not sure that 8 or 9 people are going to make the team, but who knows, depending on where those picks are. But either way, it's an opportunity to move up. So I'm looking forward to that. And sorry if I didn't get to any of y'all's questions. I just wanted to make sure that I got the point out about Omar Khan because I like him. I like what Omar Khan's doing. He's flipping the philosophy of the Pittsburgh Steelers from what it used to be to what it currently is right now. What it used to be is ultra conservative. We never moved up. We didn't get rid of guys a year early. We didn't do any of those things. We just kept guys, usually kept them too late, and it was a nightmare. And Colbert, look, I mean, the roster was a mess when Khan took over. Let's Let's not kid ourselves about that, especially offensively. It was an absolute mess. So Michelle West says, if we were winning playoff games, then we wouldn't be considered in rebuild. That's true. But maybe. Maybe. I still think the Steelers are considered because they rebuilt their offense and defensive line. Even if they win a playoff game, they would still be rebuilding. I mean, the Steelers they don't have a quarterback or a franchise quarterback, I should say. That's rebuild mode, number one. Number two, they flipped the offensive line and defensive lines. That's literally where you start, or that's how the good teams start. Quarterback, offense, and defensive lines. Well, the Steelers don't have the quarterback yet, but they are flipping the offense and defensive lines. So I think they'd still be in it, considered in a rebuild. Alonzo Dunn with the super chat. Thank you for supporting the channel. Says, is there a college coach worth trading the assets next year? Like to be the head coach? I mean, there's always a flash in the pan, but here's the thing you got to remember, man, is college coaches don't have the best history of moving up into the pros and doing well. You know, they don't. I mean, I'm not saying it has never happened, but it's few and far between, man, as far as head coaches. That's not something that's just, okay, this guy was the hot shot college guy. Now he's going to be the hot shot pro guy. You know, that don't happen very often. Not college coach. College QB. Is there worth a college QB worth trading the assets next year? Yes, there's several. Absolutely. I apologize, Mr. Dunn. So, yeah, there's several that are there. Several that are there that are worth it. I apologize, chat, getting ahead of myself. But, yeah, there's several college quarterbacks next year. I'm not saying it's the best college quarterback draft ever. Some people are trying to act like it's and first of all, we throw this generational word around way too much. You know, it's a generational talent. It's going to be a generational draft. And I'm like, come on, man. First of all, the term generational has been around forever, but people weren't using it describing athletes till about 5 years ago. Now it seems like anybody who's any good that comes out is a generational talent. Okay. I mean, you can be really good and you're not Michael Jordan or a LeBron James or Larry Bird or Magic Johnson. Okay. Those are the people that we should be talking about generational. If you're not that, then stop it. Okay. Stop it. Like David Robinson is an all-time great. David Robinson is not a generational talent at center as far as basketball is concerned. If you want to talk about football, Peyton Manning, generational talent. Tom Brady, you know, guys like that. Not the guys that were just really, really good. No. So I don't know if there's like I said, the whole generational talent per se. Hey, Tanya Jackson, how you doing? Appreciate you being in here. So we'll see. So I don't know. It's we'll see what happens, man. We'll see. I think the draft is going to have something. Steelers are going to be in play. There's some people that were arguing with me about it. Of course, you know, people argue online. And they were arguing and saying, well, the Steelers don't have 2 first-round picks, so they're probably not going to be able to move up in the draft. And I'm like, well, hold on a second. How often do teams have 2 first-round draft picks? Not very often. Teams move up in the first round to draft quarterbacks all the time. I go, just because you don't have 2 first-round draft picks in the same draft doesn't mean that you can't use a future first-round draft pick. Teams do that all the time. So, and the other picks, you use that as leverage as well. So I'm like, hold on a second. I'm like, if the Steelers are really trying to move up, and I don't even know where we're picking. Let's just say we're at 20 again, and we want to move up to 10. Multiple first-round picks are going to probably need to be used. Okay. And if that's getting your franchise quarterback, there isn't a person in this chat that doesn't want to give up 2 first-round draft picks to get a franchise quarterback. If you knew that was going to be the guy. There isn't a person there's probably not even there's going to be a Steeler fan, but there isn't a sane person in this chat right now that wouldn't give up 2 first-round picks for a franchise quarterback. Of course you would, because that's what you do. That's what teams do. And that's if you have to move up. Now, if the Steelers season tanks and we're ended up picking fifth, that's a different conversation. Totally different conversation. But that's not likely. At least I don't think. Felicia says that's because the word puts butts in the seats, Big B, talking about generational. No, you're exactly right. You're exactly right. So, you're exactly right. So, but it is what it is. It is what it is. Robert, we're not going to do the report that Jalen Ramsey is constantly late to practice, and there's some concerns about Darius Slay's knees. You know, first of all, who's putting out those reports? Second of all, they don't have anything to talk about right now. So no reason to even go down that road, brother. Sometimes we get sucked into the Steelers rumor mill when there's not anything to talk about. And so then we just have to live with it. And even if he is late to meetings, and even if Darius Slay's got knee issues, he passed the physical by the Pittsburgh Steelers. And if he ain't good to go, that's on the Steelers. So it is what it is. It is what it is. So I don't even want to go down the road of the rumor mill of, well, so-and-so's got hangnails, and after every game, he's got to go get, pedicures and manicures because he's got hangnails. I'm like, come on, man. Come on. And again, I'm not saying none of this is true. All I'm saying is let's let it happen before we dive into the rumor world. Let's let Darius Slay have a problem. You know what I'm saying? Let's have Jalen Ramsey be late to meetings and be a problem in the locker room. Let's let all that stuff happen before, because actually, you haven't really heard that about Jalen Ramsey, about him being late and causing problems in the locker room. You haven't heard that. You've heard about him talking. You haven't heard him about being a problem. So I'm just not going to deal with the rumor stuff. And I get it, why people are doing it, because there's nothing to talk about. Well, sometimes you got to create real things to talk about. That's all. That's all. My man CID says, even if he was late to training, that's on Miami's clown organization. Tomlin wouldn't allow that. Miami is like Cleveland South. You're damn right about Miami. Miami is a joke of a franchise. It's an absolute joke of a franchise. So if he's late, it is what it is. Alonzo Dunn with another big super chat. Appreciate you supporting us, big guy. Says, do you think Tomlin's legacy will be judged? He lack of drafting a franchise quarterback. I think it will. That's why I think they got a hit on this. Because for years, and here's the thing. Like, he had Ben Roethlisberger. And everybody wants to say, well, Ben was developed when Tomlin. Ben was in his second year. His third year was with Mike Tomlin. Is that a developed guy? I'm not saying Big Ben wasn't any good, but he wasn't a fully developed quarterback when Mike Tomlin took over. And it's always funny, the Mike Tomlin haters always say, well, it was Todd Haley or it was Bruce Arians. But so they don't give Tomlin credit for developing Big Ben, but they will bash him and say, well, Big Ben was already good when Tomlin was the coach. Well, which is it? If those guys were the assistant coaches here, Tomlin had nothing to do with it. Well, I thought he hired assistant coaches. I thought he hired those guys. It's crazy that people won't give credit sometimes where credit is due. It's okay to say that Tomlin is a defensive coach, but he helped Big Ben. Maybe how he helped develop Ben was to let Ben do his thing. Did anybody ever think that? It's like, hey, the best way that I can help develop this guy is to let him just be himself and go do his thing and not get in the way. Isn't that what we ask about Tomlin? Stay out of the way? Take his thumb off the offense? I know I'm screaming that. Take your thumb off the offense, Mike Tomlin. Maybe he did that, and that's how he got developed. I don't know. That's just me yapping. So it's crazy. To me, it's just crazy. And they'll say anything, but it is what it is. Jerry, Mike Tomlin doesn't need to go. So, and you're not going to be able to come up with one logical reason on why he needs to go. You're not going to be able to do that other than, I don't like Mike Tomlin. Okay, We get you don't like Mike Tomlin, but other than that, big man, there's no reason for Mike Tomlin to be fired. None. None whatsoever. Not right now. Now, it may come to that. It may come to that. But at this particular moment, no, he doesn't. He doesn't. So, CID says people just make stuff up because they have haterism in their game. Rodgers is a cancer. Ramsey's a cancer. Slay bum knees. Metcalf's a cancer. All this nonsense, just clickbait. And you're pretty much right. You're pretty much right. So, that's the whole difference. But we'll see. We'll see. We'll see what happens, man. So, Concept said Mike Tomlin needs to go to the Super Bowl and bring home number 7, 20-0 record. I don't know about 20-0, but give us an opportunity, man. Give us an opportunity. And Concept, what did I tell you about that name? I'm not repeating it. What did I tell you about that? Okay? What did I tell you about? You know we don't repeat that name on Steelers Almighty. Don't do that. Don't do that. I'll put you in timeout. Don't you do it, brother. Don't you do it. Don't you dare do it. But it is what it is, man. It is what it is, man. It'll get figured out. But I like the extension for Omar Khan. Big year for his guys that he drafted, and the guys that he brought in free agency. It's a huge year for all of that. So, but that's the difference. Jordan, North USA is what's above this country. Jordan, North USA. No. It's North USA. That's what's above us. Don't you do it. Don't you dare do it. So, we appreciate you, man. Mr. Capricorn, Steel is in the house. What's going on, brother? We appreciate you being in here. We appreciate you being in here. So, let's move on. I'm going to say this about as calm as I can, Steelers Almighty family. Are you all tired of Terry Bradshaw? And I'm asking you, chat, like genuinely. I don't want any preconceived notions from me on how you think I want you to answer. But are you guys tired of Terry Bradshaw? And I'm going to look for some comments before I say anything. I'm just going to look for your all's answers before I say anything one way or another about our man Terry Bradshaw. I've got yes. I've got yes. Look, I am dead tired of Terry Bradshaw. I'm tired of him constantly ripping the Steelers. He, again, is on the love train of baby hands Pickett and bashing the Pittsburgh Steelers. I'm about tired of it. I'm done with it. Of him constantly taking up for baby hands Pickett. Look, man, the guy couldn't play. Or better yet, the Steelers just didn't want him. They didn't want him. They didn't believe that he was the franchise quarterback. The general manager didn't pick him. Mike Tomlin, I think it's pretty much on record, Mike Tomlin was not in agreement with the pick. Kevin Colbert picked him going out the door because he wanted his legacy to be, I picked the next franchise quarterback for the Pittsburgh Steelers. That's what it was. And instead, it turned out to not be the guy. Now, Bradshaw brings up some good points. The Steelers couldn't protect him. They didn't have a good offensive line. No, they didn't. They did not have a good offensive line. 2022 and 2023, it wasn't as bad as 2021, but those offensive lines were not good. I mean, there's no ifs, ands, or buts about it. Not good. But neither was baby hands Pickett. I mean, he wasn't good, So he's right about that. He also said that the Steelers didn't have any weapons. And I'm like, well, hold on a second. You had Najee Harris. Now, I'm not saying Najee was spectacular by any means, but he was a workhorse. Didn't get hurt, didn't fumble, could count on 1,000 yards. 1,000 yards is not what it used to be, ladies and gentlemen, but it's still 1,000 yards. Okay, great. He also had George Pickens. He also had Deontay Johnson. He also had Pat Fryermuth. So don't tell me he didn't have any weapons. Yeah, he did. Now, was he working with a handicap because of who the offensive coordinator was? Which, again, my man Jordan will remain nameless. Uh, so, yes, he was working with a handicap, but he still wasn't good. Oh, by the way, guys came in to replace him. I remember Mason Rudolph doing just fine. Now, granted, the previous offensive coordinator had gotten fired, but it was still his offense that was in place. It was just different play callers. Like, they didn't change. You can't change an offense mid-season. You know, they couldn't do that. And the Steelers didn't do that. They had a different play caller. And Rudolph came in and he was okay with those same weapons. So I don't want to hear that he didn't have any weapons or he didn't have a line. He made it work. There's no reason Kenny Pickett couldn't make it work. You know, super chat again by my man Alonzo Dunn. Hollywood Henderson said it best about Bradshaw. And besides, he moved to Dallas. Our nemesis of the 70s. Been tired of Terry. Exactly. What did he say? He couldn't spell cat if you give him the C and the C and the A. Something like, I think that's what it was. And I'm like, come on, man. I'm just tired of Terry Bradshaw. Look, I understand you don't have a good relationship with the Steelers anymore. And I also understand that you knew Kenny Pickett and you liked him, but they traded him to Philadelphia, and Philadelphia thought so much of him, they just gave him to the Cleveland Browns. Yeah, man, this guy helped us win a Super Bowl. He's a backup, man. He's valuable to us. We love him so much, we're just going to just hand him to the Cleveland Browns. That's how much they thought of Kenny Baby Hands Pickett. So Terry Bradshaw, do us all a favor and just shut the hell up. We are tired of it. We are tired of it. You don't like the Steelers. We get it. We get it, man. Okay? But now we got to put Terry Bradshaw in the same breath with the Colin Cowherds, the Nick Wrights of the world, the ESPNs that constantly got Pittsburgh running out of their mouth, just bashing us. I'm like, bro, we get it. You don't like us. Okay. So what? Move on. Do something different. But Kenny Pickett was not a good quarterback for the Pittsburgh Steelers. I mean, and again, I admit he had a bad offensive line. He did. But there's other players that have bad offensive lines that were able to make plays in the National Football League. He didn't do that. He was not the guy. And it's not just that. You're telling me that a guy of his caliber, there's no other teams that are out there that needed starting quarterbacks. How come nobody was asking for Pickett? They thought so much of Pickett in Cleveland. Now, Deshaun Watson's probably not playing this year, but they thought so much of, hey, we got the starter in Kenny Pickett. They brought back Joe Flacco and drafted 2 damn quarterbacks. That's how much confidence they have that Kenny Pickett can be the guy. So just get out of here with that nonsense. I'm tired of it, man. I'm tired of it. So, Kenny may have tiny hands, but he has a ring on it. And I don't care if he has a ring. You know how many guys have an NFL ring for doing nothing? Come on, Felicia, you're better than that. So, and you're right. They sized him for that ring. They don't make rings that small. They don't make rings that tiny for baby hands. Stop it. Stop it. So, but yeah, that's my thing. I'm just over Terry Bradshaw constantly, people just bash. You don't like us. But yeah, you don't even have to say it. We get it. You don't like us. We get it. Capricorn Steel with the super chat says, when Joe Green criticizes them, we all listen. When Terry takes it or talks it, it's irrelevant. Exactly. The difference is because Joe Green is trying to be constructive. Terry Bradshaw is trying to cut down. That's the difference. You said it exactly best, Capricorn Steel. When Joe Green talks, people respect it and they listen. Terry Bradshaw is doing nothing but trying to tear down the Pittsburgh Steelers. And for what? He's been on TV for what, 30 years? Like, you don't need any more clicks. Like, you're still relevant. I don't know. I don't know. That's why I don't get it. That's why I don't get it. So, but it is what it is. It is what it is. But no, you're right, Palmer. Baby hands wanted out. Remember, they brought in the quarterbacks. Like, they didn't tell Kenny Pickett. They just brought in Russell Wilson. And then he was like, yeah, I want out. I want out. Didn't want to compete. Didn't want to do any of that. Just wanted out. Didn't want to compete for the job. And think of it this way. If Baby Hands would have stayed, he'd have got to start the first 6 games last year because they were never going to trade for Justin Fields. They didn't need to trade for Justin Fields. And he could have started the first 6 games last season for the Pittsburgh Steelers. And if it went well, who knows if they would have went to Russell Wilson or not. I think they might have, but who knows? Who knows? But instead, he didn't want to do that. He didn't want any part of being the backup in Pittsburgh. Okay, great. We'll see you later. We'll see you later. So that's all I'm saying. But yeah, I'm over the Terry Bradshaw, can't stand Pittsburgh Steelers. I'm over that. I'm over that. I mean, look, we're all Steeler fans. Well, most of us in here are Steeler fans. We love what Terry Bradshaw did for us, in the 70s, 4 Super Bowls. He was the quarterback of that team. But if we're all just being extremely honest, how good of a quarterback was Terry Bradshaw? I mean, you all seen his numbers. How good of a quarterback is he? Yeah, he won 4 Super Bowls, and he actually played great in those Super Bowls. Can't take that away from him. Played great, except for the first one, he was lousy. But the other ones, he was great. Having said that, like, how good of a quarterback was he? I mean, seriously. I mean, he's not a top 30 quarterback in the history of the National Football League. You could come up with 30 guys before you came up to his name. If you're being realistic, 30 guys. That's just my opinion. So I easily think you could come up with 30 guys. And the reason that you can do that is because you can come up with guys that are playing right now that are better than Terry Bradshaw, Patrick Mahomes, Josh Allen, Lamar Jackson, Joe Burrow. That's just 4 guys right there that are better quarterbacks than Terry Bradshaw. So while I love what he did for my team, I love that he was a leader and led us to 4 Super Bowls. I love it. I'm tired of him bad-mouthing us and us having to pretend like he was the second coming of quarterbacks for the national. No, he just wasn't. Capricorn Steel with another super chat. Appreciate it, man. The Steelers was still on that community loyal BS with Pickett being at Pitt. He left with Colbert. You're exactly right. And that was Alonzo Dunn. Excuse me, not Capricorn Steel. It was Alonzo Dunn. I apologize. But yeah, that's the whole thing. Is that, well, here's a good point by our man, Mr. Byron Nelson. He says, give Dan Marino, Swan, and Stallworth. Yikes. So, but it is what it is. Felicia says now he needs to sit his old ass down on that recliner and coach from the living room or his analyst sideline or chair. Nah, I'm with you. Yeah, I'm past the Terry Bradshaw, man. I'm past the Terry Bradshaw. I like him. Don't get me wrong. I like him because he helped us, but I'm done with him bad-mouthing us. I'm done. So, I'm done. Mike says Kitten Mittens might return to Heinz Field. Imagine that, big B. I mean, he might. As Cleveland's quarterback, he might. Alonzo Super Chat says it's questionable that he was better than Gilliam. I mean, you're right about that. A lot of people say that. A lot of people say that about Terry Bradshaw. Lots of people. So, Wild Bill, what's going on, man? Appreciate you being in here. Howard says Marino had coked up Duper and Clayton. So, yeah, he did. Just imagine how good Marino would be if he wasn't throwing to guys that literally hadn't blinked in 36, 72 hours. I mean, Mark Clayton, and Duper, those guys didn't blink. Their eyes wide open, just couldn't blink. 72 hours, all that coke. Lord have mercy. Imagine what he could have done. It's incredible. Incredible. So, DeMonte Hustle says, I don't know who made that comment about Marina, but Marino has some bad wide receivers and still didn't go anywhere. I don't know who was bad. Like, are you saying that Duper and Clayton were bad? Because they weren't that good. I mean, that Dan Marino was that good. Dan Marino was that good. So, yeah, Duper and Clayton just playing like this. Just playing, running wide, just running routes like this. Not able to blink, eyes wide open. Lord have mercy. Hey, Brenda, how's it going? Brenda, could those folks take the hits Terry had to take back in the day? Maybe. I mean, we don't know if they could or not. Football's played differently. So, and not saying Terry didn't take punishment, but that doesn't mean that he was great. I mean, Dan Marino was taking hits like that. Joe Montana, those guys were taking hits like that. And they were pretty good. They didn't throw almost as many interceptions as touchdowns in their career. So I'm just tired of Terry constantly bashing us. There's other things that he could be doing with his time. So there's other things that he could be doing with his time. That's my point. So, but it is what it is. Let's move on, people. So, winners and losers of the Steelers versus Dolphins trade. Well, first off, let me clarify a couple of things that the Pittsburgh Steelers clearly won the trade. Like, I don't think there's any doubt in anybody's mind that the Steelers won the trade, because the draft picks don't count. That's a pick swap, 2027, a fifth and a seventh. Nobody cares about that. Okay. But Jonnu Smith and Jalen Ramsey for Mika Fitzpatrick, the Steelers win that trade. Okay, great. But who are the individual winners and losers? Who are the individuals? Let's start with the losers. Let's start there. I think the Steelers locker room is a loser. Because, look, you talk about whatever you want as far as Mika on the field, but he was a leader. He was a good guy, well-liked. And so the Steelers locker room is going to suffer. I'm not saying that other guys can't step up and fill the void, but if we're being honest, and we are always honest on Steelers Almighty, is Minka's going to be missed in the locker room. That leadership void and what he brought to the table as far as that concerned, the Steelers locker room is a loser. Okay? Steelers proven back-end protection is also a loser. Look, we complained about Mika Fitzpatrick over the last 2 years not making any splash plays. But you also know something else that didn't happen to the Pittsburgh Steelers? Like, nobody threw the ball over our head. I mean, I used to talk about that all the time. It's like he's not making splash plays, but he's back there. So they're not just throwing these go routes and deep balls and throwing them over top of the Steelers. He was the last line of defense, and he did it pretty damn well, people. So that's the thing. It's like he's there. He was making those type of plays that weren't necessarily splash plays, but they kept teams from throwing the ball deep over top of our head. And again, I think most of us understand the reason the Steelers had him playing there is they didn't trust the corners. They didn't believe that Steeler corners across the board could necessarily hold up. So they had Minka back there. So the last line of defense, I mean, that's the thing. You didn't see too many deep balls going over anybody's head. That's because Minka Fitzpatrick. Now, the Dolphins' offense is going to suffer. I don't know that we need to talk a ton about that. I mean, they had some injuries, but taking Jonnu Smith away, he was a security blanket for our man Tua. Their offense is going to struggle. But here's another name that's a loser of this trade is Darnell Washington. Darnell Washington is a guy that I think a lot of us thought, hey, he's going to have a breakout year. We know how Arthur Smith likes to use tight ends. Not so much anymore. I mean, look, he's the best blocking tight end that we have, and by a country mile. But he's not, I mean, you can say he's better than Connor Hayward as a receiving tight end if you want. I think they're probably about even until we see. Maybe Darnell's probably a little bit better. But he's not better than Pat Freiermuth, not even close. And he's not better than Jonnu Smith, not even close. So that's somebody that's a loser of this trade because I think his development is hurting us. So I think that development right there is hurting us. Felicia said, just saying that the other teams had no respect for Minka. Yeah, they did. Or the other teams had to respect for Minka. Yeah, they did. Yeah, they did. You're exactly right. They had to respect him because they just didn't even try to throw those deep balls. And maybe that was the ultimate respect of if you do it, he's going to be back there to either blow up your receiver or intercept the football. So, Felicia, you're exactly right. You're exactly right. They had to respect him. They absolutely had to. So, and that's, again, that's something that's missing. So, basically what I came up with and I think are the biggest losers are the Steelers locker room, the big playability of other teams, our last line of defense, and the Dolphins offense, but Darnell Washington's development as a receiver. Those are the big losers from the trade with Miami, in my opinion. So those are the big losers. But we'll see. Robert says that Arthur Smith hasn't set the world with tight ends ever. That's 1,000,000% not true, Robert. That's 1,000,000% not true. You're judging this based off of, well, Kyle Pitts didn't have 1,000,000 yards. I mean, do the research on Arthur Smith. He doesn't have guys that have tight ends that have 100 catches every year. But if you combine the two tight ends, they have 100 catches. He uses tight ends when he has them available. He absolutely does. Everywhere he's been. He uses two tight ends and he throws to them. So he absolutely does that. Didn't necessarily have that last year with Pittsburgh, or he didn't trust the quarterbacks to throw the ball to him. But yeah, they do that. He absolutely uses tight ends. That's his thing, is using tight ends. He just doesn't say, okay, I've got one tight end and I'm going to throw him 150 targets. He doesn't do that, but he uses two of them and he'll split them up. So Alonzo Dunn, another big super chat. He says, and the light bulb goes off. What if we are planning on trading Muth and use Mount Washington as a 6 offensive lineman? Remember, Muth cannot gain an inch. They're not going to do that. They're not trading Pat Freiermuth. That defeats the purpose of literally what I was just talking about as far as what Arthur Smith does with tight ends. So they're not going to do that. They're not going to trade him. They're not going to trade him. Or I don't think, who the hell knows? But I wouldn't think that they're going to trade tight ends. I mean, they just paid him. So I don't think they're going to trade him. But who knows? Who knows? So who knows? But we'll see what happens. We'll see exactly what happens with that. Now, the winners of the trade. The winners. I think the first winner is Aaron Rodgers. They got another weapon to throw the ball to. No, I understand. It's not a wide receiver number 2. I understand. But weapons are weapons. Okay? And another guy to throw the football to that can create mismatches when given the opportunity, that's a weapon. That is a weapon. Joey Porter Jr., I think Joey Porter Jr. also wins in this trade. And the reason is because he already had Darius Slade to learn from. Now he's got a future Hall of Famer to learn from as well. So that has to help you. Bernard Nixon says, who's better, Rodgers or Breeze? I would take Rodgers all day and night. Appreciate the super chat, Bernard. So Joey Porter Jr. also is a winner. I think Jalen Ramsey's a winner. Look, there's some of you in the chat that just talked about Cleveland or Miami being Cleveland South. Miami's a poverty franchise. I think they are. And now he's with the Steelers. That has to help him. He's on a better organization, a better football team, a better culture. So Jalen Ramsey, absolutely, this trade helped him. 100%. So, and then also Arthur Smith. I think Arthur Smith is a winner. We heard Arthur Smith didn't have what he needed last year to run his offense. Didn't trust his quarterbacks. Didn't have all the weapons or the people in place that can do the things that he wants to do. We heard that. He said it. Well, now you don't have any excuses. Now you've got those guys. Now you've got the weapon. You've got 2 pass-catching tight ends. You've got a run-blocking tight end. You've got a zone concept running back. You've got a quarterback that can be accurate with the football and get you in and out of the right plays, that can throw the ball over the middle when somebody's open. You've got all of that stuff. You've got it. So no excuses. No excuses. Come up with the creativity and keep it moving. So that's the difference. Come up with their creativity and keep it moving. So that's what I want to see out of our man. So that's what I want to see. CID says Miami is about to have a terrible year. We should have traded first-round picks with them. I mean, I guess. I mean, you're right, because they're going to be picking high. You're right. They're going to be picking high. So, Bernard Nixon asks, will TJ get paid? Yep. He sure will. I just find it hard for the Steelers to say they're going all in and then trade their best defensive player. I mean, then what are we saying? Because now you're not going all in. And I'm not even saying, because I was like, hey, they're going all in without sacrificing their future. Well, now they wouldn't be going all in. They would be taking a step back, looking towards the future. And I don't think you bring in a 41-year-old quarterback and say, we're looking towards next year. We want you to come in, we want you to play, but we're looking towards next year. I don't think Aaron Rodgers would sign up for that. I don't think he would. You know what I'm saying? I don't think Aaron Rodgers would come to Pittsburgh with him knowing they're probably going to give up on TJ. They may trade Cam Hayward mid-year. This is a total rebuild job. I don't think he'd put himself through that. I really don't. Don't think there would be a need for him to do that. So, plus, I don't think they're going to trade him. Brenda, yep, he wants $40 million a year. He does. So, but we'll see. Robert, how's Big G doing? Man, he's doing all right. So he's getting better. That's the main thing. He'll get better. I'm not going to get into any specifics or anything like that, but he'll be back. So again, I don't know if anybody caught it, but at the beginning, I just want to let everybody know, give a shout out and some prayers to our man, Big G. He's going through it, but he's getting better. My man. So he's brought a lot to Steelers Almighty, the big show, man, on Tuesday nights. He has brought a lot. We have a ton of fun doing that show. A ton of fun. So, but I don't know if he's going to be able to do it tomorrow. So we'll mix it up and figure out exactly what we're going to be doing tomorrow. This, just so you guys know, is my last week because I'm going on vacation on July 12th. I will be gone for 8 days. So I will not be, I may be doing a couple of town hall lives, but I'm going on vacation. I'm going to the islands. Um, I bought me a bunch of shirts. I'm going to have this 350-pound belly out. My wife, she doesn't care. My wife is like, you know what? You feel good, I feel good. And I'm like, you're daggone right. I bought me a bunch of $2 shirts that I couldn't button those things. If somebody said, B, I'm gonna give you $1,000,000 if you can button all the buttons on those shirts. They won't button. They're not big enough. They're not big enough. So that's why I insured it. I insured that I had to have my belly out because the shirts they won't even button. I'm like, yeah, buddy, we're going to have a good time, man. We are going to have a good time. So I may be sending you all some pictures. I may be doing some lives from where I'm at. I'll let you know. And I'm not keeping it a secret. I just want to find out when I get there, if I'm able to do them. I'll tell you where I'm at. Yeah, I'll tell you. I'm not keeping it a secret. Thunderbird, yeah, I'm gonna having Thunderbird in my cup. It's gonna be wild, people. It's gonna be wild. I'm just telling you. Look, my wife needs a vacation. I need a vacation. We have fun when we go on vacation. We do nothing. There's some people that go on vacation. They like to be adventurous. They like to go sightseeing, or they like to be super active. This is partly the reason that I'm so big, because we go on vacation. We do nothing. We go to the beach. I say, look, I give the guy $100. I say, and when we first get there, I said, when you see my pina colada glass get this empty, I need you to bring me another one. And I need you to do that the entire time that I am here. Here's $100. Go have at it. I said, but I'm telling you, this low, you see it get here, I need another pina colada. And my goal is to drink as many pina coladas as the resort can serve. That is literally my goal. That is my goal. But yeah, when we go on vacation, we vacation. Like, we don't do nothing. We go to a beach and we will lay on the beach all day. Now, I will say this. I'm going to warn you guys ahead of time, is that y'all see the color of my shirt. You see the color of my hat. My ultimate goal is to be that dark by the time I check back in with you guys, after vacation, basically on the 21st. So that is my goal. So if I got to have extra lighting when we come in here or whatever, now I'm already dark. I try to coin this phrase, but I can't coin the phrase blurple. That is my goal, is to be blurple. I want to be as black as possible, as humanly possible. That's my goal, people. That's my goal. That's the kind of fun that I'm going to have, that I have on vacation, man. That is the fun that I have on vacation. So, yeah, so this is the last week, and I'll be here all week, though. I'll be here all week. We leave on Saturday. So we still have the big show tomorrow. We'll have another on Wednesday or Thursday morning, probably have a little town hall on Wednesday sometime, podcast on Friday. We'll do the same stuff that we always do all week, but then I will be out of town all next week. So I appreciate you guys for being in here, man. Thank you guys for supporting the channel. I really do appreciate you guys. I know I say that enough and it sounds fake. I promise you it's not. I promise you it's not. I enjoy doing what I do. I enjoy doing what I do. You guys make it enjoyable, man. So, again, appreciate you. Again, again, another shout out, another prayer for Big G, man. He'll be getting better, and when the time is right, we'll let you know what's going on, all that good stuff. We appreciate him. We love him. And I love you guys. Until tomorrow, big show again. We'll be here, 8 Eastern, 7 Central. Make sure you guys show up and show out early like you always do. I will talk to you soon. And aloha.